What's up, viewers, subscribers, and agents alike? It's your boy Enlightened Luciferian Prince coming at y'all once again. Welcome for viewing this content. Thank you for being here, viewing my channel. If you're here in 2025, you could already tell we're getting live and we're cooking hard, cooking strong, nonstop. It is what it is. All gas, no brakes. But before I proceed, if you're watching this video around children, please remove them from your immediate vicinity as my videos are not for children. So, let me also say, this does not constitute legal advice, anything I say within this video. The sole purpose, as for anything else in social media, is for informational and general purposes only, for your own personal edification and education. Now, we got that out the way. I go through my comment sections probably about weekly. Probably about the same time I delete all my emails and stuff, because I don't like to keep a whole mailbox full of just emails, whatever. Just takes up space. Anywho, somebody asked me to do a video on tender of payment, and I said, okay, you know what I'm saying? Sure, absolutely, why not? And I'll do that. I forget the person's name, but before I proceed, I want to give a shout out to in 2025 to two of my subscribers who have been rocking with me, and I have yet to give them a shout out for the beginning of the year, so I'm gonna do that right now. Get out the way. Mr. Jeremy Moses, that's my homeboy. I know you for years. Been solid. Been rocking with you. Just want to give you that shout out of appreciation. You know, if anybody knows what I'm saying on my channel is very true, I will say this: you are my number one primary witness that I don't play for cameras on YouTube. So shout out to Jeremy. Thanks for rocking me for all these years. And especially, you know, I've been using this while I was even in the trenches, straight up. So irrespective of anybody believing what I have to say on this YouTube channel, one witness to me is better than a million. So shout out to Jeremy. And shout out to my brother from another mother as well, Mr. Luis. Now I'm here. Relax. Shout out to you, man. Thanks for rocking with me. It seemed like when we first connected, we was like A1. You know what I'm saying? Like real talk, A1. Like a brother from another mother. I feel like I've known you for years. And last but not least, I haven't heard from him in a while, and I hope everything's all right with him. Brother Anton, if you're watching this video, man, reach out to me. My number's still the same. It is what it is, man. Hopefully you came further in your process since the last time we spoke, and you're still in the good fight. But that's for all my loyal subscribers and people I know personally in my personal life for 2025. I just want to give a shout out to those who are near and dear to me. Anywho, now that that's out the way, tender of payment. Very simple, people. And I'm going to drop this in a very, very simple context. Now, I know a lot of people, when it comes down to explaining certain stuff in this context, they either try to make it mysterious or make it seem like, oh, well, you know, you got to drop a whole bunch of fiat. Let me tell you something, people, when you view my channel. All you have to do is read. And when I tell people on my channel to bring pen, paper, so forth, I'm not saying it like in a sense to just be vain. Write down certain things that I say, because that will lead you to another doorway to help enlarge your understanding. Please. Pen and paper when I say things, right? This is for your edification and benefit. So, just being real. Now, tender of payment. When we think of payment, we have been indoctrinated our whole life. Yes, people, all of us. Irrespective of how long you've been studying this information, irrespective of your profession, irrespective of your career path, irrespective of all that you think that you are in this matrix, you have been taught to believe that legal tender, i.e. Federal Reserve notes, is a way to pay debts. If you've been studying this knowledge, you've been getting deep into it, you realize there is no lawful money in the United States. Okay? I don't care what you may have in your wallet. I do not care what those increments may say on your checkings and savings account. I do not care. That doesn't mean anything. And I'm going to go through the legal preferences of why it doesn't mean anything. Definitively by the law. Not my conjecture, not my own opinion. Law, people. Now, let's start here. Federal Reserve notes are obligations and have no redeemable value in gold or silver coin. Wherefore, the amount of tender or obligation is always zero. United States Constitution, 1789, Article 1, Section 10. No state shall make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts. Wherefore, there shall be no payment of the debt, only discharge. Let me say that again for people who find it hard to believe. Federal Reserve notes are obligations that have no redeemable value on gold or silver coin. Wherefore, the amount of tender or obligation is always zero. Number 2, a bill of exchange fulfills the legal definition of a negotiable instrument, currency, and also per Uniform Commercial Code, UCC 3-104, and legally discharges any alleged debt. This is merely a promise to pay and not a sight draft, forged document, bogus instrument, etc. Once tendered, the debt is discharged, period. Number 3, this is my favorite. Refusal to accept is the discharge of the debt. According to UCC 3-603, tender of payment. According to UCC, if tender of payment of an obligation to pay an instrument is made to a person entitled to enforce the instrument, and tender is refused, there is discharge. To the extent of the amount of the tender of the obligation of an endorser or accommodation party having a right of recourse with respect to the obligation to which the tender relates. 4, a bill of exchange will be monetized/discounted by the Federal Reserve for any of its member banks or any individual, partnership, or corporation. Let us go to the law that backs this up. United States Code, Title 12, Chapter 3, Subchapter 9, Subsection 343. Upon the endorsement of any of its member banks which shall be deemed a waiver of demand, notice, and protest by such bank as to its own endorsement exclusively, any Federal Reserve Bank may discount notes, drafts, and bills of exchange arising out of actual commercial transactions, that is, notes, drafts, and bills of exchange, issued or drawn for agricultural, industrial, or commercial purposes, or the proceeds of which have been used or are to be used for such purposes. The Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System to have the right to determine or define the character of the paper, thus eligible for the discount within the meaning of this chapter. Nothing in this chapter contained shall be construed to prohibit such notes, drafts, and bills of exchange secured by staple agricultural products or other goods, wares, or merchandise from being eligible for such discount, and the notes, drafts, and bills of exchange of factors issued as such making advances exclusively to producers of staple agricultural products in their raw state shall be eligible for such discount. Right? It's lengthy, but you get the gist of what I'm saying. Yes, people, this is it in its entirety, according to the law that I just stated. Now, I don't have to read it because I just gave you what to read for yourself. And you simply notarize it. You simply draft it yourself. You put the amount and you send it to whomever is requiring payment. What you have to understand, people, is that anytime you get a bill, unless it specifies, or I should say state, unless it specifies a particular type of coin or currency to be paid, use your thinking cap. If the Federal Reserve, which is neither federal nor reserves anything, has the compunction to print promissory notes, because that's all you have at your disposal as a population of people, right? Promissory notes. What is stopping you from using the same applicable banking laws, not going out here counterfeiting or forging documentation, people? Let's get that straight. On my channel, we clarify. According to the banking laws of negotiable instruments, look it up, people. Look up the Bill of Exchange Act for any naysayers that have anything to say. And especially for the people that says it doesn't work. No, it just doesn't work for you. Because there's probably some steps you probably missed along the way. Or you probably just didn't draft it up correctly, or you didn't do your homework, or a combination of all three. See, when people naysay and say stuff doesn't work, you're either an agent or, simply put, in the most brutish tongue I can say, a fucking dumbass. Because it clearly tells you in the law as defined what instruments are necessary to be accepted and what conditions they are to be accepted under. Just because somebody refuses your method of payment does not mean it didn't work. Okay? That meant that they knew that they obviously couldn't receive some type of benefit from the otherwise extension of an illegal contract. So there you go. Once you understand the idea behind being a private banker, that means operating in the private, and meaning that you give value to any note in which you construct yourself within the provisions of the law. Okay? Let's get that shit straight. If anyone comes up here and has anything to say, because I get so fucking tired of agents and agent-minded motherfucking people who always come online and always talk about those sovereign citizens. Let me get one thing straight in 2025. Fuck you. For anybody who thinks that such a thing exists in this culture. There are sovereigns. Look it up in Black's Law Dictionary, and look up citizen in Black's Law Dictionary. The funny thing is, for any dickhead who wants to say that, find me the definition where the two of them are compounded together. And then come back and say some dumb shit. No. People who think like this are autodidactic and self-taught, for other better usage of wording, who basically know that we have been fucked over by a fraudulent banking system that doesn't give us anything but heavy taxation. So if we are saying this in this respective sense, your laws tell us this. It tells us this. This is not some ideology we made up. I just read it. It's in the law. It says gold and silver is the only lawful tender. But no, the corporate script that people so begrudgingly work for says legal tender. Now look up in Black's Law Dictionary what lawful is and what legal is. You're welcome. So when you understand also the full faith and credit clause of the United States Constitution, and I'm just dropping seeds for those who like to research. Full faith and credit clause of the United States Constitution means that any document, notice, record, or proceed from any source has full faith in one state as it does another. Do your research. Okay? So you must understand that these are the intricacies behind the banking manipulation of the United States populace. And as I said, I don't give a fuck if you're on a high level in society or a low level or mid level. It doesn't matter. It affects everybody the same. Let's get that straight. So when you understand that you are in your rightful capacity, if you have your mind on writing and thinking straight, you could compose these things and you will always bring your accounts to zero. It is your job. It is your duty and your responsibility to enforce these things, because if you don't, you will always and continuously forever be a debtor in your natural capacity and in the commercial. Commercial, ad infinitum, is always going to be a debtor. But you are going to be the surety if you don't act in your proper capacity. There you go. Now the scarecrow has a fucking brain. Congratulations. So people, when you tender payment, whoever says you owe them something, this is simply just a way for you to discharge. Preferably, I tell people always ask, is it important whether or not you're a secured party creditor before you enforce this? I suggest you do. The simple reason why I say I suggest you do, because I remember years ago somebody said, in regards to filing the UCC-1 on Secretary of State, they said it in the comment section, I remember it. And I had to actually enlighten the masses on the fact that of a superior security interest. If you do not claim a superior security interest, go to UCC Article 9. Okay? So fuck the naysayers and do your research. It talks about a perfected security interest, which means that you now have placed a lien on the actual usage of that particular entity, your ens legis fiction. In other words, you have taken the debtor and placed it in a secured position because you claimed the debtor as collateral. So once you claim the debtor as collateral, now you can wield your double-edged sword in commerce. So again, I say this, fuck the naysayers who say that there's no such thing. Article 9 of UCC. So, to basically enlighten you on what a bill of exchange is in regards to tender of payment, you're welcome. And that's in less than 17 minutes. And I tell people this all the time, and I know it's very hard for some people to believe because, again, the indoctrination system has a lot of people basically afraid to understand that there is nothing real in the commercial world. The only thing real is the results based upon how you contract. But remember, as a private person, you have no limitation on who to contract with and when. And always remember, the grand currency in this universal sphere that we inhabit, as so limited as it may be, is consent. If you give no consent, a fucking thing can't happen to you. At all. Whether it's visible or invisible. And I tell people all the time, you better understand the invisible contracts as well as the visible ones. Prime example, you walk into Home Depot, unless it's the store's fault, let's just say you walk down an aisle and a tool just falls off the fucking shelf. But you didn't read what you actually walked past before you even walked inside the store. If you ever take a time and notice, there's a liability notice on every motherfucking store, unless it's actually the store's fault of negligence. That's the only way you're going to be able to sue. There's a liability notice everywhere. Yes, those are what I call hidden contracts. Now, a lot of people are like, well, I need it. Enter at your own risk. See what I'm saying? Oh, it's plenty of them. Plenty of them, especially when the whole scenario happened back in 2020, 2021, where everybody had to mask up. Yeah. They told you enter here without one, it's on you. Implied invisible contract. Implied invisible. You better understand the power of contracts. You give your consent, you have to live with it. But the reason why I'm saying consent is because consent could be accepted. And just like this bill of exchange, to whom you may send to somebody who's alleging that you owe them a debt, it can be denied. And that's the whole idea behind the redemption process, people. We want them to fall into dishonor. We want them to absolve us of any alleged debt simply by refusal. No long drawn out phone calls, no argument, no nothing. Your refusal is enough because once you refuse, you default and you cannot enforce. And if you do, and if you actually do, try to in any respective capacity, this is all the proof and evidence that I need to otherwise say I already paid you. Simple as that. Absolved. Just like that, people. So, if you find this video informative and it's your first time viewing this channel, please hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit that notification button so every time I drop a video, you won't be left outside the loop. If indeed you would like any further assistance with personal things of that matter within regards to things that I cannot say or will not say because it will consider itself in the realm of public opinion, legal advice, please feel free to contact me via email. I'll leave my email in the video description and the comment section below. I hope this helps clarify a lot of mystique around this particular subject because I make things very, very fucking simple. Now, people charge grandiose fees and so forth. I say no names, and especially in 2025 with the hypersensitivity of people online, I don't have time to deal with it. But you know, out there in the YouTube world, you know who they are. You know, I simply make it very easy for me. And like I tell people, the only fiat you will dispense is for my time. Information, it's free. I didn't write this stuff. I just use it to my advantage to basically just say, hey, I'm just a man that loves to read. But at the same token, people, understand freedom and free are not synonymous, although they sound the same. You must work and put your energy, your effort, your dedication into it. You must. I'm just simply here as a guidepost and the individual who reads and sticks within the guidelines of what the law says. See, you can never be held guilty or liable for anything as long as you stick within the guidelines. See, they're there to keep you from erring. See what I'm saying? Sort of like when you on a road, it keeps you in your own lane. Stay in your lane, you'll never have to worry about having a collision. Or you could be foolhardy, get outside your lane, the next thing you know, you got a catastrophe on your hands. But that would just be your mistake. Me, been doing this for years. And again, in closing, I don't owe a bitch nothing but the truth. That's it. Other than that, all gas, no brakes. Let's get it, y'all. So, with that being said, thank y'all for tuning in. And I'm getting ready to go enjoy the rest of my day. Get on some Call of Duty. My bad for you PS5 users. I don't know what happened, man, but I got rid of mine last year. I couldn't do it no more. It's charging for everything. But hopefully they had them service back up for y'all. Other than that, I see you on the other side. Versus people want to consult with me. Peace, light, love. Y'all take care. Do with the information what you will. It's just simply there. Red pill, blue pill. Choice is yours. And agents, as I always say, fuck you. You know what I'm saying? Y'all take care. Stay tuned for the next upload.